He was just 20 years old when he became king, a young ruler stepping into a world of ancient empires and fierce rivals. And by the time he was 32, he had conquered pretty much the entire known world from Greece all the way to the borders of India. This is the story of Alexander the Great. He was a philosopher's student, a battlefield legend, and arguably the original overachiever who set the bar ridiculously high for everyone who came after him. Alexander was born way back in 356 BCE in the Kingdom of Macedonia. This wasn't some quiet little village. Macedonia was a rising power thanks to his dad. His father was King Philip II, a military genius who transformed the Macedonian army into an unstoppable force. Philip was busy conquering Greece, but he made sure his son got the best education money could buy. And who did he hire to tutor the young prince? Just a guy named Aristotle. Yeah, that Aristotle. While other kids were probably learning their ABCs, Alexander was getting private lessons in philosophy, science, politics, and how to, run the world. He wasn't just book smart, though. Alexander was also a skilled horseman and warrior from a young age, trained in the military arts that would define his life. Then, suddenly, everything changed. In 336 BCE, King Philip II was assassinated. Just like that, the powerful king was gone. Boom! At the tender age of 20, Alexander inherited the throne. Most 20-year-olds are trying to figure out college, maybe keep a houseplant alive, or decide what to do with their lives. Alexander? He looked at the vast, powerful Persian Empire, the dominant superpower of the time, and thought, yeah, I'm going to invade that. He quickly consolidated his power, dealt with rivals, and secured his borders. Then, he turned his gaze east, ready to pick up where his father left off, but with ambitions that went far beyond Greece. Alexander crossed into Asia Minor in 334 BCE with a relatively modest army. What followed was a military campaign that historians still study today. He faced the massive armies of the Persian Empire, led by King Darius III. Time and again, Alexander was outnumbered, often significantly. But he had brilliant strategy, incredible personal charisma that inspired his troops, and let's be honest, probably some serious historical plot armor. He won major battles like Granicus, Issus, and the decisive Battle of Gaugamela. At Gaugamela, in 331 BCE, Alexander faced the full might of the Persian Empire on a vast plain. Despite being heavily outnumbered, his tactical genius and the discipline of his army secured a stunning victory that effectively ended Persian resistance. By the time he was just 25 years old, Alexander was the master of Egypt, Persia, and huge swathes of Asia. He wasn't just conquering, he was moving fast, covering incredible distances with his army. With all that power and success, things started to get a little strange. Alexander began adopting Persian customs, wearing their robes, and even demanding that people perform proskynesis, a ritual bowing or prostration traditionally reserved for Persian royalty or deities. His Macedonian and Greek soldiers, who were used to a more egalitarian relationship with their king, were not exactly thrilled about this. They grumbled, and there were even plots against him. But Alexander kept pushing. He marched his army through harsh deserts, over towering mountains, and further east than most Greeks had ever gone, all the way into parts of India. He faced new challenges, including fierce resistance and unfamiliar enemies. And yes, he absolutely fought against armies that included war elephants. Imagine facing a charging line of those things. His troops were exhausted and wanted to go home, but Alexander always wanted to see what was just over the next horizon. After years of non-stop campaigning, marching thousands of miles and never losing a battle, Alexander finally turned back west. He reached Babylon, the ancient capital of Mesopotamia, planning his next moves, perhaps towards Arabia. But in 323 BCE, at the age of 32, Alexander fell suddenly and severely ill. The exact cause is still debated by historians. Maybe it was malaria, typhoid fever, or some other infectious disease rampant in the region. Maybe he was poisoned, a theory that has persisted for centuries. Or maybe, just maybe, his body simply gave out. A total system collapse after years of relentless physical and mental strain, constant campaigning, and numerous battle wounds. As he lay dying, his generals reportedly gathered around him and asked, "To whom do you leave the empire?" His alleged final words were, "To the strongest." Thanks for the clarity, Alex. His death plunged his vast empire into chaos as his generals fought amongst themselves for control. Despite his short life, Alexander the Great left an indelible mark on history. He never lost a single battle he personally commanded. He founded more than 20 cities, many of them named Alexandria, the most famous being in Egypt, which became a major center of learning and culture in the ancient world. His conquests spread Greek language, art, architecture, and political ideas across 3 continents, kicking off the Hellenistic Age, a period of unprecedented cultural exchange. His military tactics and leadership were studied for centuries, inspiring future commanders like Julius Caesar, Pompey the Great, and even Napoleon Bonaparte. So was he great? By the sheer scale of his conquests and his lasting impact, it's hard to argue against it. But he was also complex, ruthless, and perhaps a little unhinged by the end. He was definitely extra. If you found this whirlwind tour of Alexander's life interesting, please give the video a like, leave a comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. Let us know in the comments, what do you think Alexander would have done if he had lived longer? Where would he have tried to conquer next? History's wild, and Alexander's story is one of the wildest. See you in the next one.